Spurs Nation, I missed you guys. And I think I'm going to really need you guys this season, man. And I know you guys are going to pop up on the channel. One of my favorite fan base, if not the favorite fan base on the channel. And it's crazy because growing up, I never would have thought I'd say that. I used to not like the Spurs at all, but you know, it makes sense. I'm a Lakers fan. The Lakers and Spurs were always rivals. And then it just felt like for years, the Spurs just were not competitive at all. And now here I am in 2025 covering the Spurs every single season. Last year in my expectation video for the Spurs, I said they were going to be a playing team. I was very high on them because they got Chris Paul. I thought they were going to be good. And I seen flashes of the team when they looked really good. But let's be honest, we didn't get a full season of what the San Antonio Spurs could have been last year because Victor Wembanyama obviously had a blood clot. And they traded for De'Aaron Fox and they barely even got any minutes in time together because De'Aaron Fox also needed surgery once Wemby went out. So it felt like halfway through the year, the Spurs season just sputtered out. And I was wrong in my prediction. But I was also wrong a couple years back when I said the Detroit Pistons were going to make the play-in, and then they sucked. But the following year, they go all the way to the semifinals and the playoffs. I'm always a season behind, and I'm still very high on the San Antonio Spurs. I'm not expecting a top 3 seed in the West. But if you've been following the channel, you know that I am very high on Victor Wembanyama. He's one of my favorite players, and I think he's going to be the future GOAT. In the offseason, he studied different religions and basically became a monk for a little bit. We seen him back playing basketball, playing soccer in the offseason. His body looks good, and that is the fear, obviously, because he had a scary departure for the last season because of that blood clot in his shoulder, I believe. And that came right after the All-Star game in which he was the only player basically trying on the floor. And that's why I love Wemby, because he loves the game of basketball, but more importantly, he loves the NBA. And I feel like a lot of players coming into the league nowadays don't really like the NBA. And I think a lot of players in our age fell in love with the mixtapes. But I see something different in Wemby, and it's why I cover the Spurs, and it's why I'm so high on the Spurs every year, because I truly believe this guy is going to be a champion one day because he knows what it takes. We've seen him lead France to the finals in the Olympics and then come up short. I've been saying the Spurs just needed to get a pick and roll guard to unlock this guy after I watched his rookie year and realized they didn't have one. They did that last year and they went out and got Chris Paul, and that's why I was so high on the San Antonio Spurs. And it did look rocky to start the season. I'm not gonna lie, the Spurs did not look perfect, but they showed flashes, and Wemby showed spurts of him becoming a shooter. And I'm sure all of the older generation are going to say he's 7'4". Why is he not in the paint? And a lot of people also say he is skinny. He needs to gain weight. And Wemby has come out and said he's not going to gain a lot of weight because he doesn't want to lose his mobility. And that is because Wemby sees a vision in how he wants to play the game. And in my opinion, is going to kind of be like a James Harden, Steph Curry, a guy who's going to change how the NBA is played. We already see it with players like Alexander Sarr getting drafted in the top 2 picks of the draft because people are looking for very tall, lengthy players who can handle the ball, shoot the ball, and be a rim protector. I thought him as a pick and roll threat was going to be really, really scary. And that's why I thought him and Chris Paul were really going to blossom together. But really, Wemby became a pick and pop threat more than anything. The good thing about popping is you're not really going to get injured as much as if you were to roll. Obviously, because there's more bodies in the paint and you're skinnier. But if you were going to be a pick and pop threat, which Wemby really can be, because let's be honest, nobody's going to be able to contest him, especially off a late contest off the pop. You can't switch onto it. And we see what Nikola Jokic does in Denver, being a pick and pop threat. That being said, you need a guard that's able to attack those switches, and I just didn't really see that consistency from Chris Paul when he got the switches onto the big man, obviously because he's later in his career. But we did see the development of Stephon Castle, and we also saw him get Rookie of the Year, which is something that is a positive. But we forget about De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox didn't get a full season last year either, and he barely even got a week or two with Wemby, if that. De'Aaron Fox is the ultimate mismatch killer. You cannot put a slower defender on him because he will go right by you and he could shoot the ball as well. Him and Wemby alone, that two-man action, when it develops, and we know this, is going to be unstoppable in the league. And we are robbed of being able to see that to its full extent last year. That is my concern with this team, is those two guys. Can they stay healthy? Can they form a good connection together? And can they be on the floor at the same time? Because it kind of feels like what Cleveland has with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. Because when they're on the floor together, it looks amazing, but they're never on the floor at the same time because one of them is always hurt. And I don't want that to be the case for Wemby and Fox because I want to see their full potential. I think it could be one of the best duos in the league, top 3 duo in the entire NBA. That alone, I think, can be a playoff team. And we've seen what Fox did in Sacramento, not really having that much talent around him outside of Keegan Murray, maybe. Obviously, that is including Sabonis, which is the two-man game I'm talking about right now. Wemby and Fox. But then you look outside of that, and the Spurs have more young talent than almost any team in the league outside of Wemby and Fox. They have the reigning Rookie of the Year, Stephon Castle. Well, who knows how he's going to play. They just had the second pick in the draft and got Dylan Harper. They still have Jeremy Sohan, who looks like he rebuilt and retooled his shot in the offseason, but we never know because it's, who knows. We've seen Ben Simmons shooting, And don't forget about Devin Vassell. I have always been high on Devin Vassell. Before Chris Paul got there, before De'Aaron Fox got there, before Stephon Castle got there, Devin Vassell was that guy. And I think him as a third or fourth option on a team is just lucky. You got to be grateful to have that. And they also got Carter Bryant. And I know you guys seen that video I posted in the offseason of Carter Bryant dominating that open run against Tari Eason and making Tari Eason look really bad. Tari Eason is a dog of a defender. And so is Carter Bryant. It's almost like they got Kawhi Leonard. And I don't want to compare him to Kawhi Leonard, but that's what it feels like. You got a Tim Duncan and a Tony Parker in the modern version with Fox and Wemby. They are the modern version of that old Spurs team. They got that 6-man type of guy in Stephon Castle or Dylan Harper. And that is the biggest thing for me coming into the season. Because a lot of people have been asking me on the channel, how do I feel about the fit with this team? Because let's be honest, they have 3 point guards. And they all need the ball. That's what's scary to me. Now, I did see Stephon Castle able to play off the ball. I was concerned about his shooting, but in his rookie season, he showed that he could be a floor spacer. Maybe not consistently, but he showed flashes that I was confident in seeing. But then you got Dylan Harper. And this guy is a certified point guard. And I think Stephon Castle is best used as a certified point guard, but you have De'Aaron Fox. You need De'Aaron Fox ball dominant the whole game. So how is that fit going to work in San Antonio? Well, they made it work back when they had Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. So one of these guys is going to have to sacrifice and be that 6th man. I don't know who that's going to be. In my opinion, this preseason is going to be exciting for me because I'm going to try to see whether or not Stephon Castle or Dylan Harper is better off the ball, because one of those guys is going to have to come off the ball. And I don't know who it is. I'm kind of leaning towards Stephon Castle, which is why I think he's going to start. Obviously, he's the Rookie of the Year. I believe Stephon Castle is going to be that shooting guard for the San Antonio Spurs. But then you still have Harrison Barnes and Devin Vassell and Julian Champagnie. Where did those 3 guys fit in, knowing that you also have Jeremy Sohan? Because you can't start everybody. I'm trying to think of the best lineup around De'Aaron Fox and Wemby. And honestly, I'm not quite sure what that is. And that's why it's very hard for me to have predictions on how this season is going to go for San Antonio. But just know, this is one of the most intriguing teams for me coming up into the season. Not only because of Wemby and Fox, obviously, but I want to see how these other pieces are going to fit, because I didn't even mention Carter Bryant, who I just compared to Kawhi Leonard. So one of these guys is going to take a step back, and I don't know who that's going to be. Now, there's another thing I haven't even mentioned yet about the Spurs team. That was a big weakness of last year, if not the biggest weakness that I told them constantly that they need to address. And that is the backup center position. Zach Collins was not it. Charles Bassey, who I really enjoyed watching, was not it. Bismack Biyombo was not it. They could not find a backup big. And I don't think they could have gotten a better one in free agency than Luke Kornet, because Luke Kornet was starting in the semifinals of last year. And by the way, did I talk about the Pistons early in this video making the semifinals? They did not make the semifinals. They lost in the first round. But hey, it goes to show. My predictions are always a year late. Spurs, in my opinion, going to make the play-in. But back to what I was saying. Luke Kornet is the best possible upgrade backup big that you can have next to Wemby. And in my opinion, if you even want to do some crazy stuff, you could throw a lineup in there where Wemby is the 4, which is how he started his career off when they were trying to start Zach Collins with him, because that is 2 very large bodies and Wemby can move. And we've seen sometimes he is best suited on defense as the roamer, as that low guy that's going to roam the baseline and not be the main guy guarding the center. I think we're going to see that type of experience or experiment with Luke Kornet. He might be in lineups with Wemby. And I think we may see small ball 5 with Jeremy Sohan, who I think is very capable of being a point center. I think that's how he should have been used, not as a point guard, but a point center or a point forward. Having him, Sohan, in there leading the offense, maybe with Carter Bryant, Julian Champagnie, and Devin Vassell around that, and include Harrison Barnes in that. I think that's another scary lineup. And that's the thing that intrigues me with the Spurs, is their versatility in all of the players that they have and the youth on this team. They also traded for some vets and got Kelly Olynyk. So I don't know if that's the best thing in the world, but they're trying to win now. They may not have Greg Popovich anymore, but I think the duo of Wemby and Fox alone gets these guys to at least the play-in. They could even go further if they could figure everything out, which is my one concern with the Spurs. And that is, how is Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper going to fit together? Who is going to play the minutes? Because I forget about my guy Keldon Johnson as well. Between Keldon Johnson, Carter Bryant, Julian Champagnie, Devin Vassell, and Harrison Barnes, and Jeremy Sohan. That's a lot of players who all have really good talent and high potential. In my opinion, it all comes down to fit, and this team can make a trade in the season, middle of the season, with one of those guys that I just mentioned. They don't need all those guys, but it's beautiful to have. And I think the Spurs are going to have a lot of experimental stuff towards the start of the season. I expect the Spurs to be a little rocky to start the year, but show a lot of flashes, similar to what the Rockets were doing with Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, and all those young guys out there in Houston. It may be raw talent in San Antonio, and I'm kind of disappointed that Popovich isn't going to be the main guy, because I know he's still part of the organization to coach these guys, but I think it's going to be very experimental towards the first half of the season, but I could see towards the second half them kind of finding an identity, and the Spurs for sure at least making the play-in this year, and I could almost guarantee that. Last year, I was very confident they're making the play-in. They did not because of injuries, but if they stay healthy, I think they could even make the playoffs. The duo between Wemby and Fox is going to be very fun to watch. And like I said, man, Spurs Nation, I miss you guys. You guys are probably one of the most genuine fan bases on the channel, and you guys are very supportive of me and everything I'm going through. So that's why I wanted to do the San Antonio Spurs as the next team I'm covering for my expectations this upcoming season, because the Spurs give me life when I watch them. I need to see that Keldon Johnson 3-ball. I need to see Wemby do some crazy stuff. And it's going to be a lot of fun this year, man, because Carter Bryant got me really excited in the offseason. The San Antonio Spurs, in my opinion, are a dark horse to make it to the conference finals in the West. I'm very high on the San Antonio Spurs, and I expect a lot. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you have higher expectations for the Spurs? Or maybe am I hyping them up a little too much? Also, if you guys want to support the channel, hit the like button. If you guys want to see more content, go in the description, check out my Patreon, and follow me on all the socials, man. Love you guys. Peace.